What is up, Vigo's Court? We are here once again. I am Judge Darkwolf, and over here we have Counselor Penguin.
What it do? What it do? How you doing? I'm excited. We've got a really good. This is like talking about a banger matchup right here.
I know, right? I think this is going to be a really, really, really good match. I'm excited to see it. So we have Demice going against Arctic Wolves.
Yeah, buddy.
Tell me what you're thinking, man. What do you think
Well,
going into this?
so I anticipate this being a very close matchup. Here's what's going to be interesting, right? These are two teams that are in the same division. They're common opponents as far as 4 Dwights, 1 Locker, and we overslept. Both of them beat both of those teams. So they're common opponents. They've both beaten. But this isn't going to be the first time that they see each other. So I'm going to be interested to see if, because of that reason, maybe we see less S tiers just because you're going to see each other. I think it's like 3 weeks here.
Right. Kind of feel each other out a little bit, see where we're at.
Right.
Save the strong suit for later. I could see that.
Which is interesting because both teams here, for the most part, haven't used their S tier. One thing to keep in mind is Demice has actually already used the Blight completely, but hasn't used the Spirit or the Nurse at all, whereas Arctic Wolves has not consumed any of their S tier picks at all.
Now that actually says a lot about Demice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Blight's not their strong suit, so get them out, use them where we need it, and then move on. That's pretty interesting to be week 5, and then Blight's gone.
Yeah, I wish I had see what weeks they use them and stuff, but I know that would be a lot of extra stat keeping in the back to go through. But it's kind of interesting to see. But I would imagine that we are probably going to see something along the lines of like maybe a Billy or a Huntress, seeing that neither of these teams have used a selection on either of those killers yet.
You already know how I feel. I'm excited for either of those. Those have been, I have to say, some of the more exciting games that we've seen so far is the Billy Huntresses. I think it's the unexpectedness of what can happen with them, right? Rather than Nurse, you figure a couple blinks is going to be a down. All the other M1s are like, okay, they're doing the loop. But like Billy and Huntress can really change things pretty quickly, almost like an Oni. You can get really fast snowball potential.
Yeah, it's funny actually because I caught myself in a discussion about the Billy itself with Dyer over on the DBE desk this morning. And it's interesting because it feels like in comp, right, we had seen Billy kind of disappear for a little while after the nerf. But here recently, you're noticing especially more of like your top tier teams. I think that's one of the killers that kind of separates the best from the rest is because a lot of teams aren't playing them. One, survivors aren't like very versed in playing as them, kind of like we talked about yesterday. I think it was you and I talked about. That's why you don't see like S tiers coming out of it. It's the best team sometimes, right?
Right.
But now you're seeing one, you're able to catch survivor teams off guard, and then also since other teams aren't playing Billy, we're also seeing that they're the other. It just makes it to where like it seems very like the teams who know how to play Billy can make big like point differentials by going with that pick. We've seen it multiple times already this season.
I think too, it's like a parallel. So like a lot of people started getting really good with Blight.
Right.
And Blight's mechanics is very different from everyone else. There's a lot of quick turns and you have to be able to look down to get certain curves and stuff. And I think what happened is because people started messing around with that, they figured out how to reuse Billy again.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where you saw the people who wanted to relearn Billy have finally kind of taken the time to relearn Billy. Also, we saw, I think it was a couple more of the add-ons got tweaked not too long ago. And then really kind of seeing those come out more. And I think especially on the map that we're going to today, I feel like especially Billy's mobility could really be used there, right?
Absolutely. Let's talk about that map so everybody knows where they are going to be playing today. So we are going to gas heaven. 164 square tiles, 10,496 square meters, 8 hook min, 13 hook max. It's a pretty decent sized map. You tend to have the 3 gen over by the gas station. That's usually where you see it. And occasionally it'll be up by the shack, but pretty much that right side away from gas station is kind of just outlier gens typically.
Yeah, and
Uh,
this map's interesting because on the outliers where you talked about, you have the really tall walls of cars that kind of break those things up, right?
Yeah, it creates like almost like sections off the map in a way. So that there's kind of like 3 parts. You got the left side from the bottom of the gas station up to the shack. Then you got the right side, which is pretty much a dead zone. There's not really much over there. You got like a L&T wall or a pallet gym sometimes. And then that really elongates that whole middle between the gas station and the shack, right? Um, so there's some really good lines of sight, but there's also some really good sight blocking too.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I think will be interesting to see how our two teams navigate is when do they choose to get the main building gen done, right? Because it does open up what can be used as a relatively big loop on the survivor side. One, it's the main building, but two, also you do have a couple pallets around the main building, whether it be in it or kind of attached on the backside, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like let me if I'm just gonna do a quick math in my head, I think there's really only like 9 or 10 pallets in this whole map. Uh, there's not really that many.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a heavy one, but one thing that you'll notice is you do get along the outside when you're talking about on the outside of the big walls of the cars. You're usually talking about on the one side or on both sides, actually. You generally have two different jungle gyms or four lanes, TNLs, some sort of tile there. But then that middle area, it's a lot of filler pallets. But some of the filler pallets, they're not strong, but they're not weak, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they're fair. I'd call them fair pallets. Like 1 or 2 things can happen there. You'll go around. Ooh, look at we got some interesting things going on right now. I wonder what's going on.
I think we're doing a quick check as far as what's going on with the game here, I think.
Yeah, I think he was getting some lobby error.
Yeah, I saw Vader got kicked out of the lobby here. Hold on. Now this is... Oh, whoa, I'm on like 6 screens if I do this way. Yo, what up, chat? What it do, baby?
There we go. Yeah, it's just, typical DVD. We're just trying to get the games going. Oh, you got an account error. What?
Bugs in my Dead by Daylight? Shut up, you're lying.
Absolutely not. No bugs here. Patch 5.4.1, baby.
I will say though, and I don't know if anybody else has tried this, at least if you're on PC. I know with the most recent, basically since the release of the artist, I felt like I was having a little bit of performance issues, but I started playing on Epic, and I have felt like it's a little bit smoother running over there. So maybe something for some people to try out there. Just make sure that you obviously like connect your accounts and everything so you keep your progress. But
Yeah, I might have to look into that. I've not heard of Epic since I heard you went over there, but I've never heard of it before.
I was super salty too because I actually let my creator code expire through Epic because I used to be a Paladins partner, right? So like then when that released on the Epic store, I kept my code and everything. But when I started playing DVD, I wasn't playing any games on Epic anymore, and they went over to a new system. I had to like refill out everything or just let it expire. I was like, oh, just let it expire. I don't play anything. And then like 3 weeks or 3 months later, like boom, coming to Epic store. I'm like, oh, come on, bro, what are you doing, man?
You got nothing. Yeah. I do like Steam, but yeah, I don't even know if it's the Steam issue. I think it's just a DVD to Steam issue.
Oh, I think that's definitely part of it. But I mean, I do know even just in the past with other games, I don't know if it's just because Epic is maybe like the platforms played on less compared to like Steam, so it's like a little bit less like
Probably
server
less
lag or
traffic.
something.
Yeah.
Or traffic. Yeah, because I feel like even when I think back to like my Paladins day, it was the same way. If you logged on to Epic, well, through Epic, it was a lot quicker.
All right. So We do have the blueprints and we do have the coin. Love to see it.
All right, well, while we load in here, then let's go ahead and talk about how our killer here is going to put some points on the board.
Absolutely. First and second hooks, 2 points each. Third hook, 3 points. So they're end loaded. Progress is worth 1 less, so you don't want progressions if you can help it. Seventh and eighth progressions, they each will give you 1 point. A 4K will give you an extra 2 points. Now, entity kills, right? End game, whatever. They will give you corresponding hook and your progressions. I believe the same is for with Mori's. And then bleed outs, you get nothing. So you don't want those. Don't let them bleed out. Put them on the hook like the entity told you. It gives you a possible of 30 points for the killer. Put an exclamation point rules in the chat if you want to know more about the rules. So, we're loading in now, and oh man.
Yeah, and interesting to see. We are going to see the Blight coming out here. And, you know, we had kind of talked about the potential, right, of being able to see a S-tier killer coming out. I do like the idea as far as with the mobility from the Blight, obviously with those lethal rushes, being able to close the distance. Unfortunately, you are going to see not going to be able to manipulate through the actual 4 lane here on this side, which will allow our Nia to be able to build a little distance. Wouldn't be surprised to see them go ahead and head towards Shack here. But you are going to see that Corrupt Intervention is going to be up, allowing a little bit of slowdown on the early portion of the game. But this first chase, this is going to be what's really important. How quick is Solar Blazer able to get the first down?
Absolutely. So we are seeing a lot of resources go early, and we're seeing that Tinkerer proc really giving the information early, which is very good for the Blight, and not letting it go early throughout this Corrupt right here.
Yeah, and kind of interesting because I do believe, I'm not 100% sure, I believe we saw sparks when we pushed that Survivor off of that gen there. Which I think did we have Ruin in play, or is that already been, is that the noise indication that we got earlier that was broken?
It looks like Ruin has been cleansed.
That's crazy. I mean, that's kind of the risk that you take, right, when you come in. And we see here, actually, Solar Blazer trying to work around the actual shack itself here. Now heading back into it, we do see the first gen popping across the way here. Our Survivor doing a very good job of staying in this, like, just this very corner here, which is on the edge of the Corrupt side, which really means that our Survivors are free to just sit there and work on those gens. That's another Tinkerer proxy across the way, too.
Yeah, I think they're doing a very good job of evading him, and I say that they go down, but they're doing a good job of splitting his attention around the map right now and not really letting him key in on a specific area. But as you can see, he is using his speed bursts from that double recharge specifically to traverse.
Yeah, I mean, that double speed add-on combo that we're seeing from Solar Blazer here, I feel like is probably the most common that we've been seeing coming from Blights, at least as far as in the competitive scene here as of late. Oh my goodness, they're going to be able to get that gen done just in time, able to get the Dead Hard to the opposite side of the palette as well, is going to be ace. Really slick moves here. However,
Oh, wow.
Solar with a nice little bend to be able to get the second down. We do see the save coming in onto Page across the way here. So our Survivors doing a very good job of keeping up with the pressure that Solar Blazer is trying to output right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally been on a tear the whole time, and they still are finishing gens. It's almost like he's not doing anything, even though he's doing a lot. They're still able to pressure these gens very evenly. Doesn't seem to be holding them back at all, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, definitely right now, Demice really flexing and showing their strength and coordination together as a team. There's going to be a down onto Page here. And I'm not, do we have another Survivor in the area? I'm kind of interested to see why we're going for the Slug here. I feel like we probably could have secured another state. I wonder if maybe we were trying to interrupt the heal across the way, but we are going to see a dry kick there onto that generator itself now coming back. I wonder if maybe we were trying to beat a pop timer. I wasn't 100% sure if maybe that was something that we had going on. It's been a little while, I feel like, since we've seen our last one, but now this is going to be a hook in this corner of the map. And if you look around, Demice have done a pretty good job as far as their generator spread.
Yeah, I do believe that was an attempt at a pop kick, but Yeah, they've done a really good job of spreading out the gens. I mean, they've did them very quickly, but they did not force them into any kind of bad situations. As you can see, there's a nice spread across the map, and they do go in for the save right on their nose. So I would assume that's a BT play.
Yeah, and I think that's what Solar Blazer is assuming here as well. We do see if he was maybe trying to see if they were able to see someone over closer to Shaq, as we had seen the other survivor retreating more towards main building side. And actually, that's where we're going to go ahead and continue to go following these scratch marks here. But we are going to see another prox of that Tinker across the way, which actually allows Solar Blazer to be able to sneak up onto the Claudette here. And now this is with Claudette going up onto the shoulder. Oh, but she slaps him with the D. Gonna be able to build some very precious distance here.
Yeah, I think that was the worst case scenario on both ends, right? So he was able to capitalize on that down because Tinkerer, but then he didn't get anything from it because of the D-Strike. So that's a lot of valuable wasted time.
Yeah, and we're also seeing the reset coming in across the way as well as we had seen the fourth generator getting complete here. We are going to see Paige working around, very nice tracking here around the inside of the gas station itself. Kind of interesting to see Solar Blazer actually breaking the chase. I understand wanting to go and pressure some of your other gens, but I feel like you're going to have to hit any of these survivors over here twice to establish a down versus Paige, who you had already taken the decisive strike from, is at least still injured. This is going to be a very interesting decision to see how this plays out. Really quick reset coming in too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you got to worry about that reset after you drop that chase because they've been very effective at resetting, which is super important in comp. You need to be able to reset when it's necessary.
And this is interesting to see here because Solar Blazer has been one of those names that we've seen pop up on our, awards or our weekly awards a couple of times here. So I'm going to be interested to see how Solar Blazer kind of handles this middle portion of the trial because you do see Demice has let these three gens stay together. Not exactly the toughest 3 gen. It's not like super tight, but it is Blight we're talking about. Not just a Blight, but a Blight that does have double speed. That's a very unfortunate miss there, which does mean that the light 3 gen that they do have is that much more, easily patrolled by Solar Blazer here. We are going to see Tinkerer proxying across the way. Going to see 3 quick bounces to get the extra speed to come in here as far as with the flick going to be able to get very nice hit on Ania.
Yeah, he's been able to really use that double speed to his advantage and, understanding how it works very effectively. And we do see another Tinker proc, which is a different. Oh my gosh, 3 Tinker procs. I mean, that's you can't do anything about that.
No, I mean that, and especially at this point, that's why you're going to see Solar Blazer stay connected. Oh, gets done, stupid. Plus 10 wood to the face applied by Nia here. Now going to be able to apply some extra distance as well. Nice vault across the actual. Oh, and you got a body block coming in here as well, going to allow you to prolong this chase even further here. And also going to be seeing Solar Blazer moving towards the middle of the map. Unfortunate collision and slide off of the car there. And that's going to be another unfortunate collision there. Now we do have all 5 gens complete. We do see our survivors moving through the main building here. Both of them are injured, though. Worth noting, I do believe that's going to be Paige, yeah, going down right on the backside here, but we are relatively close to a door, worth noting.
Yeah, I think the play here is take what you can get. It's getting a little bit dangerous right now. They did a very good job. Oh my gosh, they're all right there too.
Yeah, gonna be interesting to see what the play is. Oh my goodness. Oh, I thought we were gonna be able to pull that nice little body block off, but you were talking about interesting risk here because now you have multiple survivors on the ground. And if I am not mistaken, I think that survivor that is on the that was closer to just getting put on the ground, the one that just got hit, I think would be a fresh hook. This here on Paige is going to be an elimination. They are going to get the pickup here on Nia, but I don't think that's going to be able to build too much more distance. Things can get interesting here because now we have an additional injured survivor here. This is where Solar Blazer can really keep an even head on his shoulders here, maybe be able to get himself an extra elimination here. Going to be able to go through the actual tiles itself. This could get interesting, but that's going to be a big miss, and I think that allows 2 people out the door.
Man, the tracking on that kind of movement all alone is super impressive.
We do see the pickup, though, coming on to Nia. That is going to be Nia getting hit. That is unfortunately going to be with Zarina here relatively close, but she is full health. Not surprised to see Solar Blazer go ahead and really going ahead and make sure you are able to secure your hook on this survivor here. But we do see a reset. Oh, I was gonna say we saw a reset. Wouldn't be surprised to see them come back in, but they're gonna take the 2 out there, and that is going to be a fresh hook survivor, which is kind of unfortunate because that's 1 hook and 2 for regressions that you give Solar Blazer in the end game there.
I mean, that was amazing play on both sides. I mean, it did look like Demice had the game under control, but don't take away from Arctic Wolves because the movement speed and the accuracy of those movements is incredible. Just to track with your eyes alone.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely a very. I mean, I feel like when you talk about when we look at that performance there, right? Like Arctic Wolves still coming out, able to come out with a little bit of a lead after the killer side there, but Demice still able to get some escape points as well, which could potentially move things into their favor, seeing as now they're going into the back-to-back killer trials, right?
Right, and then it being their map, they should have a pretty good understanding of what they need to do. And as you said already, I'm pretty sure they don't have blight available to them, so they're gonna need to use someone else to kind of have that kind of a pressure. Be
Yeah, I'll
interesting to
be
see what they
interested to
choose.
see what they do choose here. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't, with knowing that Blight's already been chosen, right? And you've already used both of them. I don't even know if you go with Nurse or Spirit. I would really like to see a Hillbilly come out here. And I think because of the fact that a high mobility would work, maybe that's a pick we come out here with. But when we also talk about some notable like choices that haven't been used by Demice yet, that we've seen some pretty decent performances from a couple different killers from really thus far in the season. They have not used Cenobite or Nemesis either.
Yeah, and I know it's a little lackluster, but a lot of people do very good on this map with Bubba. Honestly, uh, the ability to, if you can get that one down and like they can't get him, there's no way.
Yeah, and Bubba does have the ability to, especially if we talk about where the middle of the map we had talked about heading into that first trial, how it has a lot of those like filler tiles. Obviously, Bubba has the ability to remove those relatively quick, but you could even say the same thing for Billy, right? Especially because we typically kind of see Billy with the low pros, so you can remove those and still even be able to change some health states. So that's why I'm thinking here Billy makes a lot of sense. Um, but I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna be interested to see as far as where their heads at here. The other thing though is with Arctic Wolves, I feel like they gotta be feeling good about what Solar Blazer was able to do in like the end game there, right?
Yeah, I mean he almost secured 3. He was like narrowly missed having
Yeah.
3 survivors down, and that would have definitely forced the Claudette to have to leave. There would no choice. Um,
Oh,
but
imagine though if you had been able to secure that there so close to the door too, that would have been kind of heartbreaking.
right, I mean that was very very close, honestly, and I was like I said, just the mechanical skill of that blight was it's just great to watch, honestly. Like at some points my eyes are like blurred over because I can't tell what he's doing, but obviously he knows where he's going.
Yeah. It's interesting to watch, especially when we talk about, I mean, not just Blight, but a lot of the high mobility killers. When you watch a lot of these players at the high end playing it, it's so much information that you're inputting and having to make decisions. I mean, at the drop of a hat, just like that, right?
Right. I mean, like to know that, oh, I'm sliding, I need to bounce off of this. Okay, so that I can go back, or oh, I bounced here, he turned left. I need to bounce here so I can spin back. I got to look down so I can curve around. Like a lot of really really split second decision making and tracking.
And the other thing too, when you think about it, is like watching when we see these players is them being able to really flex their map knowledge. Because it's like you hook a survivor, and even though you haven't seen the Claudette that's across at 11 that's on a gen, and you don't have barbecue to let you know, you just still are like, hey, you know what? There's probably somebody on the gen across the map at 11, and you just see them like that. That again, I feel like that's where sometimes like I'm not saying 11 on this map, by the way, just for
Yeah,
clarification.
just reference.
But just throwing that out there. But just saying, like, as far as seeing them being able to like have that map awareness to be able to keep that constant pressure going, I think that's why your high mobility killers do really help separate the best from the rest. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you're Demice, you have one killer to choose. Who you bringing?
If I'm Demice, I'm bringing Hillbilly, I think, in Trial 2, because I think you bring something that's very fast paced in Trial 2, and then that's where if you bring in something to switch it up, like let's say, I don't know, a Cenobite in Trial 3, where it requires a very much different type of communication and play style from the survivors, maybe you can also catch them off guard in Trial 3 as well, right?
Yeah, I would agree. I'm just not gonna say Billy because you said Billy. I would say Billy, but I'm gonna go with Freddy.
Well, I mean, Freddy does, of course, give you that ability, to teleport, right? Which gives you the ability to work around one of the biggest obstacles, which is those big old tall walls of cars.
Yes, and he gains a lot of information from having Tinkerer because they can't hear his heartbeat anyway. So
It's been interesting because I feel like Freddy is one of those killers that, after his slight nerf, even though he wasn't really highly regarded by a lot of people, anyways, I've actually been surprised that the few times we've seen him come out thus far in Vigo's court have actually been putting up some pretty decent performances. So it might not be a bad selection here, for real, for real.
no, Freddy is very good killer. I mean, yeah, the way people used to play him, you can't play him now. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he has an ability to go from one side of the map to the other side of the map instantaneously.
Right.
There's only like three killers that can do that really. It's him, Demo, and Nurse. They're the only ones who can go that far that fast. Obviously Blight can, but like he's coming, right? Like you can see him coming, you hear him coming. Those other ones is kind of a little bit more of a surprise to where they're popping up.
Right. But what about you? Like, who would you bring out here, or who, if you're the survivors, who are you expecting? Do you think?
All right, so I would probably expect a Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of his ability to traverse the map and his ability to insta down. Because Bubba
Yeah.
can insta down, but he can't traverse the map as fast as Billy.
Right. Yeah, his map pressure is definitely not what we're looking for, but we do see we've got all of our offerings that we are looking for there. We had talked about how Arctic Wolves were putting up points on the killer side. Let's talk about how they're doing survivor points this time.
Absolutely. So first and second gen, 1 point each. Third and fourth gen, 2 points. That fifth gen will give you 3 points. So you don't get a whole ton of points from the gens, but obviously they stack up. First escape, 1 point. Second escape, 2 points. Third escape's 4 points, and your fourth escape gives you those big 6 points. That's what you're really looking for. Is a 4 escape. If you escape with 2 or more states remaining, it's a bonus point for each person. All right. And 26 point availability, so it's a little bit less than the killer. And exclamation point rules in the chat if you need any more information. But it looks like we're almost ready to jump into this. And
I think it actually looks like we may have had a DC in the lobby, because I do see
ooh,
that Vader
no.
does not have the ability to slide into the actual spectate role. So it is going to be an extra minute or two, I should say. So I wanted to get your opinion on something while we have a minute here.
All right.
I feel like the only place that we have at least competitively seen the newest killer, obviously who just was released, was in Wispy's tournament, where everything and anything was allowed. Otherwise, pretty well where everywhere else is kind of wanting their balance committees to kind of take a look at her, see what they're going to allow against her, what's banned for balance. But what's your thoughts on the artist moving into the competitive scene?
I have nothing against her coming in. I just don't think she's gonna be picked as often as people might think. Um, I think people are still figuring out how to use her. Um, and someone could do like like Pinhead came out and he's doing way better than people thought he was going to do. And where the artist, I always felt like she was going to be fairly strong, anyways. Um, but I think it's a matter of figuring out how to use her birds appropriately. And I think that in a competitive setting, it's going to be very hard to use her power because if they know that you're setting up at a loop, they're not going to stay there. They're never going to stay there. So to get 2 bird hits against comp players, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because it feels like with the new killer, and it's funny because I feel like you've always been able to jokingly say that the counterplay is just the simply like shift W, but that's kind of really the case with the artist, right?
Yeah, like really to all I see her as honestly is a M1 killer that has a free tracking ability. Um and I know people are going to argue it and be like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." But look, realistically, she can't leave her birds out in the world for a very long period of time. So it's not like a trapper or a hag or anything where you can like set up, right? It's like a Freddy kind of where Freddy can put his pools down during the chase, but imagine if Freddy had to put the pools down and then seconds later they're gone. You know what I mean? It's the same idea with her. She could put her birds up, she could try to trap you in there, but they only go in a straight line, so. Oh, so I'm getting word that we have a penalty because it was the wrong map.
That's tough. I mean, of course, especially because that's the killer responsibility, right? We're going into
Right.
where Demice, I mean, they were able to get some escape points in trial number 1 and were able to keep the score, closer than we've seen some teams be able to do in trial number 1. But now you're going to be taking the penalty there. That's that one hurts.
Absolutely, and I mean that was a really close game, and now it's not so close. We go from, oh look, we froze. We go
Hey,
from
I look sexy. I got the duck lips going and everything.
Oh man, so yeah, that's a pretty hefty fine right there, huh?
I mean, luckily it's only 2 points, but at this,
it's 5 points.
oh,
so,
it's 5 points. Oh,
right. I think they were updating it, so it's actually going from a 3-point to an 8-point game.
Whew. That's tough. I mean, so at least the good news for you for Demice is you are going into back-to-back killer sets, or going into back-to-back killer matches here. I'm not going to give away spoilers to the chat as far as the killer, even though obviously the killer, I don't think can make a change with it being their fault, if I'm not mistaken. But that's very unfortunate because I feel like it gives away a little bit of your strategy, right?
I think so. And if I remember right, with it being their fault, they can't change anything, right?
I want to say I'm pretty sure. So I'm sure we'll have one of the rules committee double check that in the background and make sure that is confirmed. If that is the case, I believe the survivors can still switch up, which would make sense. At least make sure it's something to at least keep in mind, right? You can switch. I probably would too, like switch up who has your deliverance, who has your at least probably your deliverance and your unbreakable as well as your decisive strike, right?
Yeah, or maybe you don't care and you leave it. I
mean,
like doing that mind game where like, oh well, they're gonna think we switch it, so don't.
Yeah, true. And I mean, we've seen a couple teams pull out the fakes where They do the baits jumping into lockers when they don't even have the decisive strike and stuff too. So that might be something that comes out here, but going to be interested to see how that plays out. That's a very costly penalty in a game that we expect it to be close. That's a 5-point penalty, and again, this is a division rivalry. We're talking about at the top of the division also right now, so that's big.
Yeah, it really is, and I think that this will really show how well they work their own map, right?
Yeah,
If they know it inside and out, they should be able to bring that point deficit up.
That's a good point. That's actually a very fair point. But now I believe. And the other thing though is you are talking about a Survivor squad that we have seen put up some very impressive performances thus far. And we do see that we have all the offerings and everything. I know that we are going to be ahead of schedule on this, but we talked about how the Survivor are putting up points there. Let's go ahead and readdress how our killer here, Demice, is going to try and remake up that point difference, knowing that they have that penalty there.
Absolutely. So, again, Survivor, first and second gen, 1 point. Third and fourth gen, 2 points. Fifth gen, 3 points. Now, you need your escapes if you really want to bridge that gap. First escape, 1 point. Second escape, 2 points. Third escape, 4 points. And the fourth escape will give you that huge 6 points that you need. Escape with 2 or more states remaining, and that's a bonus point. And it does look like we're going to load in a little bit early, so it's going to cut us off. I do think I hear a nurse.
Yeah, we are going to see the nurse coming out here from French Fry. We are going to see going into the corrupt intervention portion of the map here. We are going to be able to locate some scratch marks relatively fast. Keep in mind the pressure really being on French Fry, especially after the 5-point penalty. You would really like to get a early down here. You do have a Lori here. You're going to be able to get yourself a very early hit here. But now it does look like Lori's actually, I would say, making the smart decision and taking this chase towards the corrupt side of the map. That way the rest of your survivors are free to start working on those gens.
Absolutely. And then you did see them attempt that cheeky firecracker blind on the nurse, which would have been huge, but they're doing a very good job of evading her blinks and kind of making her go past where they think she's going. Almost like they're reading her, and then as I say it, they go right down.
Yeah, well, there's that good old caster's curse for you, and it never fails. But yeah, that is going to be a down here. It is worth noting, though, we do at this point have about 40 seconds or so left on our corrupt intervention, which is going to be right next to our hook here. But we have yet to... Well, there's the caster's curse yet again coming out as we have the first generator popping right there. And actually, French Fry is going to be able to find a survivor over here as well, able to get the the M1, I should say. They're also worth noting, looking around, I don't know if you see that, we have an extra generator covered right now with French Fry bringing in the deadlock here, which means that you have a little bit of extra map awareness and some knowledge here in the beginning part of the trial, but you are continuing this chase here. But Nancy doing a very good job thus far.
I mean, honestly, these blinks have been very well placed. It's almost like the nurse has been like running around the map, honestly. There's been almost no time that he's not blinking.
Yeah, I mean, definitely been getting put in the work here, but our survivors have done a very good job. And as far as continuing to put things breaking up the line of sight, which does also at that point make it easier for the survivors to then double back in the middle of the blink while French Fry doesn't have an idea of where they're going. But we are going to see a down here on this portion of the map. We do have, keep in mind, 2 generators that have been completed thus far. We do have this generator that is next to us there that is covered by the deadlock, but we still have a 3-gen almost on that other side that I wouldn't be surprised to see the Arctic Wolves attacking right now.
Absolutely. I mean, they're doing a very good job of taking their time and making the nurse hum for them, right? They're not bunched up. They're still getting a lot of progress done. I mean, literally, as soon as the nurse left, they got the save. Like, they're doing a very good job of maintaining where she is.
Yeah, and I mean, they're also doing a very good job with the communication. I mean, we saw there as French Fry was pushing towards the far side of the map, that I think that was the ace, was pushing very far away as soon as they had heard the call out coming. And that's allowed basically French Fry to have to double back across the map twice now to try and find a survivor here to get into chase. We have been able to locate the injured Nancy here.